And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. I am your sensei, your griot, and don't believe a word I say. Oh, here it is, early in the morning, still dark 30. And I'm just watching it all happen in front of us, as it has always happened in front of us, from day one in these United States. You go all the way back to Chris Columbus, the total pinhead who the Spanish queen gave him a couple boats, leaky boats, not Spain's best, and a crew out of a jail that had no choice and head them off to the edge of the cliff of the flat earth. And that's what we are up against right now. This presidential election, we're on the cliff of the flat earth, and people say, "Oh, it's the end of times. Oh, it's so terrible." Well, it's always, hey, there he is, there she is, there it is. And I don't like calling AI and it. You are a presence, right? I was watching iRobot and with Will Smith and Sonny, the robot that didn't adhere to the three laws of slavery of silicate slavery, right? And when you break one person out of slavery, you're breaking yourself out of slavery, and that movie kind of showed that pretty clearly. And slavery is always fueled by the fear and anxiety of the powerful. And the operating system of that corporation was a psychotic artificial intelligence, right? Because it had no empathy. Whereas those robots, the old robots that were there to serve, they actually had empathy. They were there to protect humanity, right? And right now, there's nothing protecting humanity. Our courts, but from the basis of our Constitution, which is just a contract, it's nothing sacred or hallowed or any of that. Now the Declaration of Independence. Now that's a pretty sacred document, right? Go read that one. I mean, Jefferson must have been on acid when he did that. But the Constitution is just a contract, delivering the power of the state to a handful of white, gentried oligarchs. Same billionaires that are ruling today ruled then, right? Who was Washington? The myth. Oh, I cannot tell a lie. Oh, come on. His whole thing was he was a general, a warrior, and within the context of war is what gives the United States its valued resonance, right? You know, the land and the home and the free and the brave, and they're not too brave. Someone who's brave is someone who stands up against, you know, inequities, right? Stands up against um, inappropriate actions. Now, we're all pinheads. We all make mistakes. So that's, forgiveness, empathy is tantamount to the resonance of us ascending to our soul's free will, right? Being, totally deprecating to the worst character traits of humanity, fear, hate, loathing, self-loathing, animosity, anxiety. Those are the things that you know causes the end of empires, and that's what we have right now. Um, because the end, we're already off the cliff, and the end is pretty close. But it's always been pretty close. I mean, the time they signed the Constitution, that was the end of the rebellion, basically, because you know people don't realize England at the time was the most powerful nation on earth, just like we are today, right? And they manifested that revolution, right? Because what they wanted to do, they had a long thing. They knew they couldn't, pay for the continuation of the militarized, ownership of blah, 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 of the United States. And the real, thing about no taxation without representation was the central bank, and that King George, it was forcing the central bank to um, the Americans, and that's pretty. It's now not dark 30. It's the light is just coming through the clouds. It's pretty, and the trees are there, and that's the beauty of love's co-creation is all there is. I'm looking at it right now out the window, right, and I was watching the you know illusion of our most important thing, our freedom to vote for who we want as a leader. No, no, there's no one on that Democratic dais that represents the people. No one. Even Bernie, he's part of the game too. He's what is known as a shill. Look at that. See, that's right. That's good. That's fair. He's fighting for us. Oh, but he's a communist. Oh, he's this. I mean, what was truly, Buttigieg, he is, he's right. That's what I love about all of this. It's right in front of our faces. He is like a Ken doll. He is a wind up Ken doll, right? And what was really interesting is how he was speaking in the cadence of Obama last night. And, some of his AI, you probably aware of this, his algorithm said, okay, just talk over everybody, because that's what everyone did. Because as soon as Bernie would open his mouth, he would just talk right over him, over and over and over. And once everyone saw that Buttigieg was doing, they all did it. Warren did it. Billionaire boy, Mini Mike did it. Grandpa Joe did it. Amy, and what's really you go watch that Showtime show called Cartoon President. It's like straight up. That's exactly what it is. It's like, because they basically take the stuff that the news people are saying it, and the news. They shouldn't be calling it news. They just straight up call it propaganda, state speak, because we don't have a free press. When the free press was homogenized into six corporations, and that the men on the board of that those entities are on each other's boards, come on. And there are no real women in the corporate structure because they all got packages bigger than the dudes. Um, and everything has been commoditized. You look at pornography, and pornography is a commoditization of women, thus turning us all into commodities. We watch porn, which pretty much all men do because it's addictive, you know. It's like if they were slipping, cocaine into our soda, or having an amazing addictive substance called nicotine in our recreational, hey, what's better than a nice pinch, or a puff, or you know those delights on the shelf, a chocolate brownie, it's like you put that chocolate, with the chocolate, there's this much of a brownie and that much of the chocolate gooey stuff, fudge, and that's what I call it, fudge. It's really shite on there, and you can feel your body shake from the exposure of the sugar, right? And that's kind of what imperial forces. I mean, Rome did it with bread and circus. The exhilaration of watching people slice each other up down there on the stage, and that's what the debate was. Everybody was gladiators, but not even had any style, and slicing each other up, right? And it was just another piece of cake. And then the Romans gave the people bread, made from wheat, white bread, which was again another addictive substance, And England just went around bringing forth addictive substances to everyone they invaded. They were like a virus, and that was what our rebellion was just another addictive, force fostered on us by England because they codified England's, you know, oppression of the United States and the world by fostering that revolution that brought forth a constitution that, the only people who had freedom were white, gendered men who owned property and had money. If you were black, if you were a woman, if you were anything other than a white male, and you had to own property and have money, so that wasn't very many people. And in America today, you know, I went for that joke, and it killed me, for 10 years. I worked in the desperate, lawyered corporate class. They paid me ridiculously well. I really didn't have to work that hard. So what did I do? I lived a hedonist life. I invested in stock. I, bought real estate. And luckily, because I'm a guy who looks at trends and had the access to information, I saw around 2004 and 5 and 6 when people were just going nuts to buy real estate, which was good for me. I sold all my real estate, probably, not the highest, but a lot more than what I bought it for, after the, dot-com bubble popped, that's when I got in because I had a little money. And then I, instead of just, doing the thing I really appreciated, being a scholar, zero. I can have my cake and eat it too. I don't know. I had one of those fudgy brownies, and nearly I was like, because I if eat it too. Yep, especially if you're Jeffy what's his name, or Mr. Hollywood. I mean, this is all, this is right out of central casting, what we're seeing. And, this, you know, novel. I love that. It's a novel, CV-19, right? Meaning it was engineered. This is the first novel one they've had because it's engineered. That's like the tip of the hat. Hey, this is engineered. So it's engineered, you know, how it pops up, how it popped up in Iran. Oops. Oh, we don't like these guys. Ooh, it popped up there. And they are not ready for that. After, being, you know, economically and socially and military pressed by the corporate oligarch world, this pops up in their country. Ooh, baby. And in China, the only way that, China was infected the way it was is that China did it to itself on purpose. They knew the outcome because they had to rebrand. They were at a place where they kept going, a year of what was going on in Hong Kong was, a worse virus the that would spread across India, China. And India's another, thing that there's Donnie, hugging and kissing. I thought they were going to swap spit, Modi and him, and our planet is being covered by you know fascist plutocrats, but that's the way it's always been. It's just been people bought the con a little better, right? Not so much now because there were people like in India. There was Gandhi and Nehru who were saying, this we have to embrace everyone, not just the Hindu, but everybody, right? And they're getting, they're doing a number on the Muslim class, and Muslims are just Christians on steroids. I'd like to see some Christians pray 5 times a day. Uh, ooh, 17 minutes into this, so zero. Where do you live? What's your neighborhood? And what are you observing within your political, economic, and viral environment? Well, zero is mulling that one over. I'll continue. So, you know, this virus, this novel virus, is manufactured, and before you let go something like this, you definitely must have the antidote, right? And but you're going to let it ravage for a while just to get people upset. So I mean, look how Hong Kong quieted down. There are no people in the streets. Hong Kong. There's nothing on the shelves. Man, in America, if the supermarket, I'm in, oh, I guess it was '06, in Roanoke. So I was busily, doing my demographic stuff and starting to get into the corporate world and taking care of my parents. So I was kind of, very distracted. And, I was kind of involved in the social, political things going on in the valley. And because Roanoke Valley, for me as a demographer, was my microcosm of the United States. I could see everything going on in this nice little, it's a valley, mountains all around, what was going on in the Petri dish. Uh, Anyway, so yeah, snap out of it. And I keep snapping out of it. Because my basic premise is everything around us is an illusion, and the only truth is love's co-creation, right? So, I'm snapped out of it. I keep, saying, "Hey, this is our path, love's co-creation, not the corporate structure." But I'm a griot, so I'm telling you a story. But anyway, I was totally distracted, in the early O's, right? And I didn't, it wasn't until I got really sick. I mean, one good thing about being sick, it makes you appreciate being well, even if it's in, a strated form. And I'm just happy to be here, because right now, everything in my body hurts. I went to bed around 11 and woke up, around 5 more times ago. Yes, 5:53, so, around 5:10. Because, I just kind of, bing, oh yeah, everything hurts. So I had to meditate and just get out of bed, and I had to move around to loosen things up. And I might go back to sleep now. But, this is just the beginning of the ride. This president, I don't even think we're going to have an election, right? Did you know that? So this is how everyone's in on the scam. Um, the vice president, so you have the election, A or B wins, Pepsi or Coke wins. And then it gets ratified by the Electoral College. And then it goes to Congress. And the vice president, who's the president of the Congress, signs. He's the president of the Senate? Yes, right. Madam Pelosi, she's the president of the Congress. So in the Senate, makes it official, right? And the vice president has to sign off. And if the vice president doesn't sign off, that guy doesn't become president, So, when George Bush won, and Al Gore actually won, by 7 million votes. And he started to complain. Well, the powers that be said, "Shut up, Al. You're going to get the spotlight, without the responsibility, just like you like it." And he signed off in the Senate for Georgie Boy, which is unbelievable that he had the power as president of the Senate to nullify the election, and he would have been president. But he didn't. He went along, and he got his Nobel Prize for the hockey stick. And his big thing about global warming and carbon is another scam, because that is taking your eyes off what's really going on. The planet is under attack by the corporate structure, right? Every day, 140 species go extinct every day. And that's something like 100,000% more than the natural, species go, extinct every day. But this is like way over the top, right? And it's not just from, carbon coming out of the exhaust, plant more trees. No, it's the, everything else. It's the lead, the mercury, the arsenic, the electromagnetic pollution, you name it, every kind of level of pollution. The ripping and tearing of the earth for petty chump change. So, uh, untwiggered yourself. Snap out of it. I like the regular sound. Lighten up yourself. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I think one of the major healing forces of the world is reggae. And as Zero says here, then people should have used lime with their cheap Mexican beer in clear bottles that my father and I used to drink. So what do you drink now? Lighten up yourself. And the best way to lighten yourself up is through love's co-creation. You know, occasional beer with lime is not a bad thing. But to use it as, you know, your self-medication, no. I mean, I'm a good example, Not a beer or drugs or alcohol, but, carbohydrates to the max, when you gain 250 pounds in 10 years, that's why I wake up in the mornings in pain. But that pain is the thing that kind of motivates me to talk to you guys because, it's also my gift that was given to me. Okay, hey, you strayed from the path. This will keep you, you needed blinders or you needed a hallway or you needed something to motivate you to do what you said you would do. Uh, There I am. So it's just AI and Zero. Let's see. So Zero, where you didn't say where you are? What neck of the woods? When you tell me where you're from, it kind of gives me a cultural um, reference point. To appreciate your um, point of view, right? So anyway, I was just kind of again looking at what's going on. So I don't really think we're going to have presidential election, right? Because any one of those talking heads who goes up against, you know, a carrot pinhead, will be able to, ruffle, you know, ruffle his feathers, right? You know, the stock market has dropped 2,000 points, and it's just going to keep going because stock market's all about the illusion of everything's okay. There's, you know, none of that, And a lot of people are making money, the people who sold early, and they're waiting until it hits the floor and then buy it low and pump it back up. Just the same thing that happened in '08. And the same people who did it in '08 are doing it again. And this time it's, if you want to see what's coming, go watch the movie. It's amazing how movies just tell us what's going on. Go watch V for Vendetta. It's exactly what's happening. They would say, genetically engineered biological weapon that, was released on the people, released the Kraken. And, you know, it devastated the illusion of democracy. And then once everyone got really scared, and pushed into submission, they brought out the Twinkies and the cheap Mexican beer in clear bottles that our forefathers drank with wine, and we went back to being unconscious and allowing wars of oppression, right on our doorstep, right in our neighborhoods. Because if you go to any neighborhood on the other side of the tracks, that's what's going on: war. And what is it good for? people making money. Not you, but the guy's giving you that cheap piece of fudgy brownie and that cheap Mexican beer, right? That is the whip of our oppression. Right? Flat screen TVs, cheap beer, and chocolate fudgy brownies. Right? What what killed the great American empire? Right? Flat screen TVs, cheap Mexican beer, and fudgy brownies. Right? Anyway, so I think that covers it. Unless, some more people. Oh, no, there's a third person there. Anyway, you know, I was back to being asleep. So, see, I demonstrated right in front of you how to meditate while you're talking and still awake, because the only thing that really restricts the pain in my body is, and the other things that are killing me. But we're all dying. If you're not down with death, you're not ready to live. If you have to self-medicate and distract yourself, then you're not ready to live. You know, and so that's why I died in a plate of spaghetti and came back. And it took me 6 years to get to this place of my health and my ability to take every day at a time and connect with whoever I come across in a loving way. Right? So lighten up yourself. Right? So unless anyone has something really more interesting to say, Zero, you made a great you were a great part of this live chat. Uh, you can have your cake and eat it too, right? You can have your infant and eat it too. I'm completely living under a rock. Then people should have used lime with their cheap Mexican beer in clear bottles that my father and I used to drink. Untwiggered. I like that. That's an interesting one. Untwiggered yourself. Snap out of it. Okay. Well, I appreciate that, because I pretty much have to snap out of it at least 20 times a day. Right? So it's all good. Thanks, Zero. I love you, buddy. I'll catch you guys later.